Welcome back to Close Up. One of the key state agencies in the response to the economic impact of COVID-19 is known as Gopher, the Governor's Office for Economic Relief and Recovery. Here to discuss the office's work and talk about the money that will soon be heading out the door through the Main Street Relief Fund is Gopher Director Jerry Little. Thanks for joining us, Jerry.
Thank you, Adam. Nice to be here.
So you've worn a lot of hats in your career. You're still the banking commissioner, you've been a state senator, a career in government affairs, and I believe you were working on the assignment desk here at Channel 9 when Tom Griffith first walked in the door back in the 1980s. So I imagine this Gopher job is called on every one of those skills gathered in your many vocations.
Absolutely, especially the time that I spent working with Tom Griffith. That was extremely helpful for what I'm doing here.
So tell us, let's start off with the Main Street Relief Program. This is going to be a huge part of the CARES Act funding, $400 million of the $1.5 billion. 13,000 businesses have applied for that relief. You and the Department of Revenue Administration are in the process of determining who qualifies. This next round of verification is coming up. Tell us how that's going to work.
So we will take the data that was gleaned from the pre-qualification phase, and we've been scrubbing it this week. We're going to try to determine the companies that are going to qualify and those who won't qualify. Someone that is located outside of the state of New Hampshire is not going to qualify. Somebody with annual revenues that exceed $20 million won't qualify. Nonprofit organizations, child care groups, and such will not qualify. Farmers, agricultural firms won't qualify because we have separate programs set up for those specific industries. So anyone that's not a for-profit corporation in New Hampshire, anybody that's greater than $20 million in annual revenues, and anybody that we've already set up a separate fund and program for, will be removed from that program. We'll then take and calculate the anticipated total revenue loss for the year, and we're asking people to estimate figures because nobody really has their true data at this point in time. But we'll figure out the total anticipated revenue loss, and then we'll put it through a formula that will determine what amounts will be sent to the folks that do qualify.
Now, even if that list of 13,000 is whittled down to 10,000 or so, that $400 million can go pretty fast. So how much should each applicant be expecting? Are they going to be made whole here? Is this more of a shot in the arm to make sure they don't collapse?
Much more of a shot in the arm. Nobody will be made whole by the program, Adam. As the governor has said all along, the whole idea is to help people keep the doors open, to help them pay the light bill, and to deal with some of the direct COVID-19 related expenses, purchase of PPE, cleaning of facilities and things like that. But nobody's going to be made whole by this. That would take a lot more money.
What's the goal for when businesses will have this money in hand, do you think?
We're looking at probably another week and a half, 2 weeks, I would guess, before we're going to start to be able to get money into folks' hands. We're going to have to do the calculations, do double checks. The governor has made it very clear to us that whatever programs we put in place need to have checks and balances so that we avoid fraud, waste, and abuse. And so we're going to be taking some time to go through and make sure that the amounts that we're sending out are justifiable and responsible amounts. One of the reasons why we're using the Department of Revenue Administration for delivery of the funds and working with them on the program is that they have the ability to go back and take a look at somebody's true performance in their subsequent tax filings to determine whether or not there was any fraudulent activity. And frankly, they have the ability to perform a recoupment function for us if we should need to.
So perhaps other than the governor, you probably have one of the most comprehensive daily views of the economic impact of COVID-19. Just from a big picture perspective, describe just how big of a hit the state has taken.
I think it's huge. I'm not sure how to put it into words, Adam, but we had for the first 3 weeks of the operation of the Gopher team, we were meeting every day by conference call with either the Legislative Advisory Board or the Stakeholders Advisory Board. We were hearing from virtually every sector of society and the economy in the state of New Hampshire, and day after day after day, we heard about how people were being dramatically impacted in a negative way by the coronavirus and COVID-19. So, I would certainly say that it is going to be as significant as the 2008-2009 downturn. I think that it's going to take us clearly some time to recover. I don't think it'll be as long. I think the recovery this is just my guess at this point in time. I'm not an economist, just a guy who's been hanging around in state government and on the business side of things for some time in New Hampshire. I think the recovery will be faster than we saw in 08, 09. Less of a slow climb out of the problem time, but still it's going to take some time, and people will be hurt. We understand that, and the mission of the Gopher office is to try to mitigate as much of that damage as we can.
You mentioned the Legislative Advisory Board and the Stakeholder Advisory Board, both under the Gopher umbrella. How do you synthesize those two streams of information coming in from both political leaders and the community leaders?
We take the recommendations and the data that we get from both of those advisory boards. We summarize it. We send memos over to the governor's office, sometimes with recommendations, sometimes just as an FYI, this is what we're hearing. And truly, the governor has been involved in the creation of all of the 11 programs that we're currently managing here at the Gopher office. It's been a very interesting process to go through and to see. We have very quickly stood up a great number of programs, and the work will continue for some time here.
And you kind of mentioned it before, this is a level of government involvement in day-to-day life that New Hampshire's not really used to. Has it ever felt unwieldy trying to triage all of these different aspects of New Hampshire life that don't normally fall under the purview of the Golden Dome there?
Yeah, I will be honest with you, it has seemed overwhelming at times, particularly if you've spent a full afternoon listening to either the Legislative Advisory Board or the Stakeholder Advisory Board accept testimony from people who are really struggling and suffering, people who have put their entire lives into building up a business, and they're now looking at the possibility that a life's work could slip away. It has been overwhelming at times, but it's a huge honor to be here in this position and to be asked by the governor to do this job. I'm really humbled by it.
In your opinion, do you think the state's going to need more than the $1.5 billion in the CARES Act? It's almost been assumed there'll be another round of relief, but do you think New Hampshire's going to need it?
Yeah, when I first came in here, the very first day, April 14th, when they told me that we had $1.25 billion to spend, my first thought was, there's no way we can do it. That's way too much money. And very quickly, I got to the point that $1.25 billion is not going to be near enough money. I think there does need to be a second round of CARES Act funding to come in. We'll have to have an extension of time where we have a really short time frame. We are ordered by the federal government to spend all of this money no later than December 30th of this year. And so we're doing our best to spend it, and I'm sure we will. But as you point out, I don't think 1.25 is going to be near enough to solve the problems of the state. During the first week of hearings at the Legislative Advisory Board, we heard from the restaurant and hospitality industry. They recommended 3 programs that would help them survive. Those 3 programs together totaled up to $1 billion of the $1.25 billion. And I think it was that event that made it clear to me that we were not going to have enough, and that we really were going to have to triage the situation.
All right, Jerry Little, Gopher Director, thanks so much for joining us on Close Up. Lots to look at on your website, too. We appreciate your time today.